Hello everyone, welcome to Talk of the Day. Today we're going to talk about authentication and authorization. This is a big series. In this video, I'm only going to cover basic authentication and authorization. I will have multiple videos for different type of authentication and authorization mechanisms, using cookies, JWT, identity server, SSO. So please stay connected. I'll do them in other videos, or you can check my playlist related to authentication and authorization. You will find what you need. In this video, I'm only going to talk about basic authentication and authorization using cookies, how you can configure it with .NET Core 3.1. I'm going to start a project from scratch and show you steps one by one. Before that, if you haven't come across me, I am Nitesh Sharma, .NET developer, around 5-6 years of experience, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. So first of all, what is authentication? Authentication is simply mechanism of verifying who you are or who am I, what who you are. So it's nothing to do with what you can do, just identifying your you when you enter your credentials. So there is a difference between authentication and authorization. So you need to understand it. Then what is authorization? So basically you identified who you are, but you don't know what you can do, what you are allowed to do. So simply after authentication, verifying your capacity or what you can do, what you are allowed to do is authorization. So authorization is after authentication. So please pay attention to that. And we will start with .NET Core in a while. So I will just go to .NET Visual Studio. Here is my Visual Studio, the project I already created. I already have other projects in here. Let me just close this thing up. Okay, so this is my project, my simple solution which I just created. Don't get confused with this. This is simple project which you get after you create a new project. Let me show you. When you click here, open, and then new project, and you do like this, you can simply create a new project, ASP.NET Core Web Application. Then you say next. Um, application test, whatever, and then you create. It is going to ask me what type of application I want. I'm going to create empty one with .NET Core 3.1. Also ask me, I can just simply create web application using authentication, and then I can change authentication to whatever I want, like individual, and then I can store user accounts in app, connect to existing users, store in the cloud, and with this thing SSO single sign-on thing, you can also use this. So you have many options for authentication authorization. You can create a default application using that, but when you use these templates, you get a default implementation. So first thing, you don't understand what is this, and second thing, you don't know what you can do with that. So you added those things, but you don't know how to use it, how to use that later on in your application when you want to do something. You are stuck. So let's just create with no authentication, and I'm going to create an empty application which has nothing. So nothing and that, and I can configure enable Docker support or not, but I'm not going to do that, and just create one. So it is going to create a empty application. It has nothing. You see, it has only startup, and in this startup, you have nothing in configure services. In app, you have only routing, use endpoints. So it's simple application. So, but I already have the project, and to save some time, I'm not going to redo the same thing. So I'm going to open my already developed solution. Shit, I opened it with the 2017. I don't want it with 2017. I want it with the 2019 because 17 doesn't have it doesn't have .NET Core. So let me open up. Yeah, authentication. Simple. I already have the same project I created. I don't want to do this stuff, or I want to save some time in typing. So I can do it like this. So let me just explain you. I already have views, pages, controllers, content, and authorization requirements. So I added these folders. I'll explain you, but in simple words, my application is still startup. It has nothing, same like application I showed you, nothing except the add controllers with views. That is another thing, and add razor pages. So simple. It has nothing extra what you can say, oh, whoa, whoa, what is this? So it's simple application without any authentication and authorization. So let's start. If I just run this application, I should get just my default home page. What I'm So it's a simple home page with this page. I don't have any authentication authorization. Let me see if I have any cookie stored. Yes, it is old cookie I was running into. So okay, yeah. So let me just close it. So uh, to add authentication and authorization, what you need? You need simple. Where do you start first? You start where in startup.cs, which is your middleware, not middleware, but which is the place where you add your middlewares. Here in your service, so this you have a service collection which contains all your services you can add to your application. And authentication is also a type of service. So what we're going to do, we're going to add authentication service in this middleware. So simply what I did, I added services.add authentication type with the add authentication with the cookie, because we're going to create a cookie type, and add cookie with this add cookie auth. You don't really need to add all this. I just added it because I wanted to personalize a little bit. So what I did cookie.name equals to simple auth and authz dot cookie, and login path is home login. So I did not do anything. I just added authentication to my service. So here I only declared. I didn't use it yet. So if you know already, you have two places in your startup. First is configure service. Here you are only configuring your service. You're not using it. And then in your app, what you do, you use it. So here you have all the functions which use in your app, use what you have added, like all the services you have added. So I'm not yet using, even I added this. So what I should do, I should add this authentication I just added. I'm just going to use it. So I already have it here. I'll just uncomment it. So I'm using now authentication. Let me just run it because I use it. So uh, this is simple authentication now, but does it have any effect on my application? What do you think? It should not, because I added authentication and I'm using it, but I'm not really having anything in my controller. So here is my controller, home controller, which has this view. This does not have anything like authorization. So if I say, okay, this controller should have um, this has anonymous access, but also my problem is I did not add authorization. This is only authentication. So even if I have the cookie, I have the valid authenticated cookie, I am not using. I am not using what? I am not using. It's. Uh, I'm not using the who I am. Sorry, who. What can I do? Thing part of it. So let me say, if I just say like this, and so here you have authorize, which means you are not allowed to access this thing without being authorized. So let's but this one is using view. So what it will do, if I just do like this, then it will say, oh, what I have as a user is he authorized. Then he go and check what I explained here in authentication. It will check, oh wait, this is not authorized because I don't have this cookie. So it will redirect me to this path what I added, home/login. So I should have this construct this method in my home controller. Simply I should have it. So it's here. I'm going to uncomment it. Don't worry about what is written here. Simply I just want to make it clear what is authentication and authorization. So here I am adding, I have this function, and I'm going to cut the cut everything here because I don't care about rights. I just care about this thing. Okay, let's just run it. So what did I do? Simply I'm saying I did not add authorization yet. I have ordered only authentication, and I said this is the name of the cookie. If you don't have that cookie, redirect me to this function. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to call my home and secret, and it has what? It has this exception. Why? What it says, invalid operation exception endpoint basics dot blah blah contains authorization metadata, but a middleware was not found that supports authorization. Configure your application startup by adding app.use authorization inside the call to configure. You see, it is simply guiding you to what to do next. So what should I do next is I should add authorization. I should add this thing up. Um, so this is a big thing. I'll explain you one by one everything. Just I'm just going to add this thing first. So what I did, I added authorization with some configuration in it, and then I should use it in my app as well. So I'm going to use it. Let's see if it works. Generally, it should work because what I did, I added authorization and sorry, authentication and authorization both in my application, and now I can use that authorization tag. So what it did, it redirected me to the app to login, and called that function, and that function, what it did, this login function redirected me to this index function. So I did not call this function, you see, I did not call this function. I called this one. I called secret, and secret has authorized, which means I go back here and I check what is in my authentication scheme. If I'm not authorized, it will check, oh, login path is this one. It will redirect me to the login path, and in login path I'm doing nothing, just redirecting you to index page. So simple, right? But what I didn't do, I did not log in. I just simply passed through the authorization step, and my application worked, but I am not really signed in. So what should I do? I should log in. So sign in first. So this login method, um, I will explain you one by one everything here. So what I only need to do is do this thing, sign in. So I should sign in. To sign in, I need to get the user or user principals. So there is difference. User principals are set of collective claims you can have. So this is I'm signing in this using HTTP context sign in user principal, which has claim principles, collection of claim principles, and claim principles are claim identity. Claims identity are collection of claims. So what is claim? A claim is simple uh, key value pair which has something, some value and keys in it, and you can simply assign those value to it. So let's say I said claim type name. There are already predefined claim types which to follow the same regulation. Microsoft has this thing, claim types, and you can use this static class and use these constants in your application. You have all those claim types you can use in your application. So what I did, I added name, email, date of birth, role, and another role, and then security level. This is some another dynamic policy I created. I will explain it later. And another role, custom claim. Gandhi is dead. Then I have the value rest in peace. And this is Gandhi claim, which is, and then I have another claim list, which is Gandhi is alive, Gandhi is no more, sorry, and Gandhi alive. It's a list of claim. So I have these two list of claims. What I do, I'm going to create identity based on these list. So I create a Gandhi claim and I name this claim's identity as Gandhi identity, alive identity, and I just name it. So I take this list and I name it as India. And then I use both identities and I create user principals. So I have set of claims, and then those claims create identity, and then those identity creates principal, and those principal creates user. So simply I signed in this user. Now what I did, I have this user now. So okay, I signed in, but what happens here? So I sign in, but what this function is doing? This is from authentication context, from ASP.NET Core authentication. But in behind the scene, what it should do? It should check here what I am doing. So it will check blah blah all these things, add policy, what I did here, what I declared here. It will check all that, hide, how do I handle all this, and then it will create cookies based on this thing and save it in my domain. So let's see how it goes. I hope it is clear till now. If not, please drop your comments and let me know where you did not understand. So I just went to this page. Let me press F12, and here I have nothing. You see, no cookies. And now what I want to do, I want to go to home.secret, which has authorized tag. You see here, let me close this application. You see here in my home controller, if I just go to this one, it has authorized tab. So authorize will check here the login path, and it will redirect me to login, and login will do this thing. This thing will. So if I just press a debug point here, if I just press enter, it brings me here. So what I do, I create Gandhi claims, Gandhi alive, Gandhi identity, and alive. I just have a typing mistake, Gid identity, sorry for that. And what I do, I am signing in that user and creating with these principles. So I'm creating in the HTTP context. Please pay attention here. I'm signing in user using HTTP context and with these claims principle here, and it has nothing because it didn't have anything. But now I'm going to sign in, and it should have this user now, and user should have no, not done yet. Okay, okay. So it added this cookie with these details, and now you should worry about this thing, how it was generated. So what it has simply information about my claims I added. It has information about type of hashing I used. If I just use this and if I just use it and check online the value of this cookie value, I can get the values. And if I just do like this, it gives me secret page. Why? So first time when I didn't have this cookie, let me just delete it and just go to this page again. It redirects me here, and it comes back to home page. Okay, and when I have this cookie and I try to go again to this page with this cookie, because to my this cookie is automatically added to my request. So here it is automatically authorized, and I am going to secret page now. Why? Because I had this cookie. But last time I wasn't redirect to this because I did not have this cookie. And my startup, my home controller here with authorized tag told me, oh no, you are not authorized. You should go to login page. And with that login page, I simply uh, that login page simply redirected me to index page, which is home page. Or you can add your own login page here. You can do whatever you want. You can redirect anywhere, and but not to the secret page you if you want. So simply I was redirected to login page, and then login page redirected me to home page back. So I did not go anywhere. So that's really interesting. If you just pay attention here, you have this cookie. With this cookie's help, you can go simply to secret page. Okay, till now I hope it's clear. Now if now so let's understand this thing in more in detail. So what I did here, if I didn't have this configuration here, all this thing, I could remove this and have simple authentication and authorization. So I did not really need it. But what I wanted to add more clarity to my policies. I wanted to check if this is that. I wanted to be more precise about my authorization thing. So what I did, I created authorization builder, policy builder, And in that policy, default policy builder, what I did, I say require authenticated user. So what I'm it's an inbuilt function of Microsoft .NET Core authorization thing, and it verifies if your user is authenticated, and then it also say require claim. And what type of claim it requires? Email. You are only authorized no matter what. You are only so your authorized tag will be valid if you have this claim as well. So you have your email as well. You could remove this. It doesn't matter. Or you could add more required claims. You could do whatever. So I created this policy, and then config. In the config, I added this default policy. This is my default policy. So this default policy should be valid when I don't say anything. And then I am adding another policy, which is policy.gandhi, and I say require claim date of birth, require claim country. So this policy, what is policy actually? Sorry for not explaining actually. So you have claim. So here, let me show you. You have up these two methods. Let me just uncomment them. What you see authorize, then you ask policy equals to this, and then you see authorize, then you say role equals to this admin. Policy is simply a set of collection of roles you define, claims you define here in that policy. So I created claim.dob policy here. What it says, require custom claim, and you require this date of birth. What I'm saying, I'm simply saying if I put this here in this one, then you can only go to this secret policy page if you have date of birth in your claims. If you don't have, if I didn't add it here, date of birth, if I did not add this thing here, I won't be able to go there. So these claims I added when I say login, these claims. So and then I can use these claims as to verify if he has those claims or not. So you are getting me, I hope, till now. So if I say policy equals to this, then it will check what is in this policy. If I say roles equals to this, and then it will check what is in this role admin. So let's go back here, add policy, and then I say admin. For admin, it required this role, admin role, and for policy, for this one, it requires DOB. So simple. I hope it's clear. And we go back here, I save it, and let's see. I can go to any page now because I have all the policy and claim. So if I just comment DOB or any policy, then I won't be able to go there. So I go here, I could arrive to secret page, and if I just call secret policy DOB, I am denied because I don't have that policy. Wait, now let's do it another way. Now I'm going to my views here, and here in this view I'm going to add some more logic here. This is my predefined thing. I'll explain you what is this. Okay, so what I'm simply saying, I'm using user.identity.is authenticated. So when you have this user.identity, where is this user coming from? Right? You should know where is this user coming from. So if you are familiar with MVC, you are following in your Razor page, you have this claims principal, which is simply you stored, and this thing you get from your cookie, right? So so this everything is done automatically. But if you want to know in detail how it is happening, it is happening when you add authorization to your app. So simple. What I'm doing, if I'm checking if it's authenticated, I'm going to display user is authenticated. If else it is not authenticated, then I'm saying authorization, and then I'm checking authorize with the authorization service. I'm checking authorize async, and then checking with this user if it has claims.dob, the claim we registered here, this claim. So if it has that, let's see. It has already the cookie if it did not delete. So you see user is authenticated. Very good. But user does not have claim.dob. Why? Let's go here, up. Let's go here. This is my authorization service. So I'm going to put pause here, and then I'm going to go here again. So I have the user. I'm going to check what type of claims it has. So it has Gandhi dead, Gandhi is no more, rest in peace, security level. It has Gandhi, it has email address, date of birth, role admin, role 2, and all this thing. But it does not have this policy claims.dob. You see, does not have that. And in claims identity, it has authentication type claims identity, and how many claims it has, all those we saw up there. So it has Gandhi, email address, dob, role, all that. So it does not have claim.dob, right? So display it won't display this message. If you see here, it does not display. You have this cookie, and if you just delete this cookie, and if you refresh this page, home page, user is not authenticated because I displayed this thing. User is not authenticated. So as simple as that. You see here, I am not authenticated if I don't have that. So I hope it's clear till now. I'm going to close it, and I'm going to go to my application. So simply here in the config, do not get fooled with this thing. When I say config.add policy claims.dob, it is simply I'm declaring a policy. So when you call this thing here, claims.policy, you do not get problems. If you do not register it here, so in here, you will get exception here in your thing. So if you register it simply, you should get it. And now I did not register my claims.dob here. I can add my policy here, and then I will have the user will have this claims.dob policy. So this was simply the application I was talking about. Please stay up, please stay tuned. I hope it was clear how the authentication and authorization works, how ASP.NET Core middleware thing work, because if you are from .NET framework background, it is not really clear, because you create middlewares yourself in .NET framework, but in .NET Core you initialize services like this. So it's really different than .NET framework. But if you are already familiar with .NET Core, then it should be easy for you to understand what I simply did here. I could simply remove this thing and say whatever, or I could add more thing like config dot whatever I want to say, claims issuer, cookie manager, access denied, path. I can really configure my thing, and it's really easy. Then once I say something here, it will do, and it will what one thing I can also do one like when it becomes really long, like this authorization became really long, I could simply create an extension here and separate this method. So I could extract this method and put it somewhere else, so that my service is not ruined with this. I can do that simply creating extension for this thing, using this service collection, passing service collection as this as reference. So you will have it. You can create another folder here and create extensions. And yeah, so I hope it's clear. In next video, I will talk about identity authentication authorization. The project is already there, and I will have same example but with different type of authentication and authorization. So please stay tuned and let me know in comment section what you liked and what you did not like. Thanks for watching, and see you again. Bye.